both in Chicago, Atlanta,
and Dallas.
And where are you in Chicago?
In Brownsville.
Yeah.
So South Side, near South Side.
And what's the address?
Brownsville, 3428 South King Drive.
You're across the street from that Lake
LA
Manor,
Fitness,
Walgreens.
Right.
So a very prominent place. How long have you been here?
4 years now.
Okay.
4 years, almost to the week.
Okay. To the week?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it just popped up on the Facebook, that anniversary thing. I was like, oh, it's been 4 years.
It's been 4 years.
Since the grand opening that you helped put together.
I remember that day. I just can't believe it's been 4 years. It's crazy. We had a great time. And I think this topic that just, I've been talking to all these women of color, and this isn't about an exclusive kind of discussion. This is really an opportunity to say how this impacts a business like you who services women of color.
And employees.
Yeah. And so understanding that dynamic, because it's like, hey, women, well, that gives women the opportunity. So just talk through how that impacts your business when women are given the capital to do their businesses, when women are able to get the capital to hire somebody to come and get their hair done and do a shoot. How about that? They don't have the money to do that. You have the ability to do that and offer that for people that can do that. So talk through how that can benefit you as a minority servicing women of color.
Yeah, capital is everything. And I wish I would have learned that lesson when I started out, right? Bootstrapping's fine.
Yeah.
But it doesn't always enable you to get to where you need to be as fast as you need to get there. And so having access to capital, using it responsibly, and then being able to take that capital and reinvest it back into the community is the most important part of the business model. I mean, it's got to be an ecosystem of receiving capital, putting the capital into your business, and then using the profits to invest back into the community, strengthening the community so more people can come back into the salon and service, right? Collective economics, Ujima.
Yes. Yeah. But we don't realize that, we talked a lot about, making sure that our dollars constantly circulated.
Yeah. The first time I was introduced to that principle, I was in about maybe 5th grade. And my cousin and brother both stayed in a dorm at Cornell University called Ujima. It was predominantly black. It was like the black dormitory in Cornell. And so I asked, what's this funky name? What does it mean? Before I knew what Kwanzaa was and the principles. So it's one of the principles of Kwanzaa, and it's all about collective economics. And I said, well, what is that? And that's when it was explained to me. This is the idea of circulating dollars in the community, keeping the dollars in the community, creating businesses and enterprises that are going to keep the ecosystem and strengthen the community. And it was explained to me that other demographics, other groups of people practice this all the time, right? And for us to really rise above, we've got to practice it as well. So that always stuck in my mind, how can I someday have a business where I can hire people that look like me, service people that can look like me, and then reinvest those dollars back into the community.
And how, I'm sure that you see this often, you've got the busy professional who comes in with their child and they walk in and they see, OMG, there's a bunch of women that look like my mother, right? Yeah. And then, oh my gosh, there's this black man running around. Who is he? How does that make you feel when you see that young kid that's associated to that mom?
It makes me feel good. It makes me remember when I was a kid. So a little bit about my background. I was born in LaGrange, so near suburbs. Only family that looked like me,
right?
In the entire town. And we would have to come into downtown Chicago to get the hair done. Well, I was a little kid, 3, 4, 5, 6 years old, and I remember going into the salons and the experience that I had, which was absolutely dreadful, right? All day, Saturday, chemical filled, and I think that memory stuck with me, and I wanted to create something different. I wanted to create something that felt really professional, spa-like, but for hair, where people looked like us, treated us with respect, respected our time, and kids could come in there and say, that was a nice, relaxing place, not chaotic, gossip, TV running there all day. So a lot of my inspiration for how I want children and clients to experience was based off my negative experiences being a little kid in the late 70s, going to a salon shop in downtown Chicago with my mom.
And this business is south of downtown.
Absolutely.
And that's
on purpose.
On purpose,
yeah.
to make sure that you can still buy goods and services outside of the downtown Chicago. We love downtown. We all eat there.
Right.
We all shop there sometimes. But when we can walk to places and we can, park our cars and not have to deal with $36 or $46 of parking,
right.
that eats into our budget, right?
Right.
And so you having
Absolutely.
a place that can say, okay, you can park, there's free parking around there.
It was done on purpose. When I first started looking for a location, I was looking Gold Coast, the sexy addresses in Chicago, and I started looking at prices for parking, and I'm like, wait, if they come in for a 3-hour service, it's going to be an extra $50, an extra $40, and you start multiplying. And I know those parking dollars are not going to come back into our community.
That's right.
It's gone forever. So you run the numbers, it was staggering. It was tens of thousands of dollars that I'd be taking out of the community and giving to some parking garage owner, and never to have those dollars come back, right? And so it was a little bit about I wanted to be in historic Bronzeville, but it was also about going back to this principle of collective economics, Ujima. Like, do I want my clients' dollars to leave the community as they leave the salon, right? No, I don't. I want them to stay here. I want to be able, for them to be able to take the dollars and go to a downtown or a Bronzeville cafe or store, or, spend that money in the community, but don't take it out to River North.
Yeah, and having known you for several years,
and give the years.
I know, right? So, and watch you grow this business, which started off as a steamer, and create. I truly say it's a luxury experience. In doing that, when I look at it as these business owners get this capital, what they're able to do is say, now I know an excellent salon where you can go get your hair done, and you're going to get the best experience. Then what that does is you've got five women that could get $100,000, right? So that's $500,000 just poured into some of the community of where your business is. And imagine that $500,000. Now those employees, their vendors, their suppliers, all have what? Some level of money or income to come into your salon and get that experience.
That's it. And that's the idea of creating that ecosystem, right? And it's helped us, certainly. I would say in the earlier parts of the week, we get a lot of entrepreneurs. Between the hours of 9 to 5 is really that entrepreneur type, especially Mondays and Tuesdays. And, in just talking to them and finding out where their business is. We can then say, okay, well, we need to go and, we'll direct some of our staff, like, oh, you should go to that cafe on 43rd Street, right? Or you should go to this daycare or...
We talked about the daycare centers, to be able to go to the local daycare centers. And it all creates this, when you talk about this ecosystem and being able to do that. And the other part that I think that just, I love about you is the fact that you have the end user as the woman of color, and then you have the employee as that. So that right there says a lot. So when you think of women of color and all this, we're talking about this is the year of the woman and it's feminist, what comes to mind? Because I want to make sure that it's not to close the door for men. It's actually to create a very inclusive opportunity to say, hey, my men are buyers for our company, and so how do we continue to have that discussion to ensure that we still need our black men to be voices and advocates for our business? So what I ask you is that when you think of that, do you feel that that's a conversation where you're taking the black man is taken out of that conversation?
Absolutely. I do, because I believe that going back to the ecosystem, you need everyone involved, right? I consider myself a feminist just because I believe that there should be gender equality, right? And so, and I believe that having gender equality is good for women, and it's equally as good for men, right? Whether it's your sister, your mother, your daughter, whoever, right? Knowing that there's equal access to capital opportunity strengthens the community. And so for me, it's an important part. We can't let any side, whether it's male or female, kind of not be part of that discussion. And I think there are a lot of men who are doing things that are providing opportunities for women and vice versa. And so it needs to be inclusive. But I do also understand that there are needs and topics that are unique to women, right? Especially women of color.
That's right.
And so creating safe spaces to have those conversations is incredibly important. But there's a lot of knowledge that men have picked up, and we can't make the mistake of ignoring those contributions or that knowledge, or maybe that access to capital, because we're pro-male or pro-female versus pro-equality.
That's right. Thank you, Ken. Thank you for just serving women of color. Thank you for being an excellent friend, client, advocate, champion. And we need many, 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 many more men like you who believe in women and serve women, because we know that with that, we can build an amazing Black wealth. Marketplace, literally. So thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. I appreciate you.